Good stuff.
Freedom. There's a very, I love that video. It's a very tame version of Braveheart.
That's right.
You know,
Yep.
you may take our salaries, but you'll never take our freedom.
I was thinking about Shawshank since I saw that for the first time. That
Yeah,
was
what the? I mean, I didn't want to have this conversation in front of everybody, but
right.
if I'd have known that, I think we'd had a different conversation in your interview process for becoming our National Chief Leadership Development Officer.
You see
Never
how
seen
responsive.
Shawshank.
You see how responsive I was. I acted immediately and
You did.
promptly. Yeah, that was good.
You did. I do
That's
appreciate
freedom.
that.
That's a good freedom movie. You know, crawling through the pipe to freedom.
Yeah. Casey, remember the did you ever see the Family Guy where they're doing the where they're doing the Shawshank? He says, why he chose enchilada night, I'll never know. Oh man, childish.
That's good.
Humor is really, really funny. All right, man. Let me figure out how to share my screen for the 500th time. It's like I'm doing it for the first time every time. Boom. Quick though. All right, Cook, we got some good stuff to hit before we can turn it over to you. Can't wait to hear from Val Zarn. Has he given acceptance speeches yet about being the name of the year winner for like 2 or 3 years in a row?
He actually did. It was really cool. He even posted on our band app about,
Really?
He was humble about his 2 consecutive back-to-back awards, and he was humble.
Why didn't you share that with me? I mean, his parents named him like a superhero.
I know.
No pressure, kid.
Hey, Val Zarn, man, when you got a name like that, you just got to be great, right?
I think so. I definitely think so. Let's hit some leaderboards, shall we? Top 10 new riders. Oh, look at here, Casey. We got week to date and last month. Boom. Micah, Julie, Nadia. Congratulations for the week. Our top first-time rider for the month was Louis Ray Hernandez. Congratulations, Louis Ray. $19,305. Way to go. Top producers for this week, which is technically last week, I guess. Brett Loftus, Ken Crawl, Stacy Smith, $24,742. Look at these numbers on the right-hand side. Now, this is just stupid. Cook, did you ever even sniff these kind of numbers when you were in the field? Dedrick Robinson, Lee Jed, just machines, all of them. And Brett Loftus, 57,000.
Not even close, Brandon.
Huh?
Not even close, buddy.
No, not even close, man. I was fired up in my $20,000 a month.
Me too.
$57,895. Way to go. Big old numbers. App count wise for the week, Scott Forehand. Looks like somebody's trying to win a contest. Somebody's trying to get it going. Dedrick, Harry, and Forehand again. 89 applications. Is there anything you would like to say? Anybody that, are we all just kind of dumbfounded? 89 applications for the month of May. What are you doing, Michael Scott Forehand? It's like he's got a little booth set up somewhere. He's not telling us. He's got like a little insurance toll booth set up in Walmart or something where people are coming through and he just signing them up left and right. Jennifer Ringstaff, way to go. Medicare supplements, just tripping over them these days. Anthony Lapari, number 1 for the month. Where we at? Disability income. Speaking of Imelda Koptenak, Casey, did you see the text that came through on Imelda? Broke her leg.
I know.
She's been in surgery. I think she's coming out of it. If you know Imelda and want to send her your love, then please do that. Man.
Sorry to hear that, Imelda.
Is that what I read? Femur? Man.
That's not a fun break.
No, it's not. We're thinking of you, Imelda. If you're listening in, she might be all loopy right now. She is listening in.
She's loving it.
You know, she's having a good old time. Kelly Rogers, number 1 DI writer for the week. Amanda Rochelle Torma, number 1 DI writer for the month. It's almost $5,000 in premium. These are just little add-ons. Top 5 IUL producers. Hossein Des Fuliazeda. Pretty sure I nailed that one.
Affectionately called Shane Dez in our group, just so you know.
Shane Des.
Yep.
Did I pronounce his name correctly? Would it be like Des?
You probably did, but he always
Zeta?
let me off the hook with Shane Dez.
I mean, I had to. It's like I have to challenge myself because I saw it there. I know it was number 4, but
you did well, buddy. You did well.
Thank you. Sean Kim, Nadia Shariah, Glenn Tomio Segawa. $12,000 on the IUL board. Way to go. Log jammed here for second place. Elizabeth and Sergio with 14,400 and Glenn with 15,000, just barely edging them out. We ain't seen nothing on IULs yet. Let me just tell y'all, there's some good stuff coming. Might be 2022. There's a lot of things going on right now, Cook, but some good stuff coming. Top annuity producers for the week. Great day in the morning. You know it's a good week when you start off in third place and Lindsay's at 350,000. Brett Diamond 675. Landry Peterson 739,000. Way to go. Look at Robert Hoffman. Welcome to the show, Robert Hoffman. That was his first week out and he wrote a 2.1, almost $2.2 million annuity. That's kind of like stepping up to the plates at your first major league at bat and hitting a 3-run homer, the bottom of the ninth. Pretty amazing. DFL is blowing up, guys. And if you hadn't been there, you need to get there to the boot camps. George White, number 1 for the week, 12,200. Rebecca Hyatt with 18,000 for the month of May. Well done, Rebecca. Total recruits on the base shop side, you got Hemi. He just kind of perched up there, always in the top 2 or 3 with 11. Well done, Dana Else with 9, and Pritchett and the Matthews tied for 7. Went the wrong way there. Chris Cook, 22 for the week. Not too shabby. Pogue, 28, KP, 32. On the licensed side, Edward Pritchett, number 1 with 6. Kevin Purdy and Edward Pritchett tied on the directs board with 14. Well done. Great gravy. George and Janet Matthews with 5 new base shop riders. I mean, Dana Else, Matt and Brad Smith, Larry and Griffin, those are all really good numbers too. 5 new first-time riders. Kevin Purdy, in addition to the 5 from George and Janet, a total, I should say, not in addition to, a total of 15 in his direct agency. Well done, Jacob Pogue, Miranda Martin, Matt and Brad Smith, all of you. Season new agents, Casey, there's a lot. I would like to call on you to read out these names unless you want me to. See how good you are.
Balfour Wright, Brendan Pritchard, Darlene Barnett, Harley Perrin, James McCarthy, Joanne Kitchens, Karen Burr, Michaela White, Nicholas Toronto, Portia Solis, Sandra Burns, Stephanie Bays, and Stephen Donald Newsom.
I mean, I think you nailed it.
Good job, guys.
I would give you a 90 only because you called Haley Harley.
Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, Haley. Sorry, Haley.
And probably Portia's last name is Solis. You remember a Solis from our past, don't you, Cook and Casey? Yep.
Sure do.
Well done,
Yes,
though.
sir.
Good job, guys.
Nice name calling, buddy. Key leaders for the week. Young Godfather Capistrano. Jordan Howell, number 1. Key leaders for the month. Vlad the Hammer Stefanovic with $94,000 as a key leader. The Hammer.
Nice.
Bringing it. AOs. Sarah Reinecke with $47,000 for the week as an AO. So she basically does what she's supposed to do in a month in a week. Not too bad. Jeremy Whitaker, number 1 for the month with $147,000. Jerry Choate's having a good run too. All you guys, Newbauer, Lee Jed. Sarah feels like she just got here like a month ago. I know it's been a little bit longer than that, but not much. Agency directors, Larry and Ann Griffin, $144,000 for the week. Larry and Ann, $532,000 for the month. Well done. Well done.
Like Sarah Bailey, 301, Melissa Eagle, 322. Nicely done, guys.
I know.
Killing it.
Exciting.
That's getting into fun multiplication territory. You start getting up 300,000-400,000 a month.
Yes, it is.
That's when things get real.
Look at this week for George and Janet Matthews, and they're killing it. Clark, Cook, Capistrano, Balmer, Eileen with 160,000 in premium.
Rolling, guys.
Puts her also at number one for the month with $627,000 in premium. What a great story. I had so much fun hanging out with Eileen last week.
She is fun, man. I love Eileen.
She is a ton of fun, man.
That whole crew last week was so fun.
Yep. Can't wait for the next crew to come in too. Although, you guys got a lot of shoes to fill because this last group was awesome. MVPs, Darren Stubbs for the week, 75,000. Summers, Faulkner, Pappas, all good weeks as well. Summers, Pappas, Faulkner flipped for the month, but Stubbs is still out in front, $339,000. Darren, way to go, buddy. Senior Vice Presidents, Kyle and Lisa, $214,783. Well done. It's a good looking crew right here. Nate, Jimmy, Scott, Colburn's, same crew here. Number one, Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell, $819,762 for the month. Well done, Kimbrell. Executive Vice Presidents, Ashley Tarr with $300,000. Just a touch shy of it. Also in first place for the month, $1.176 million. These are all big numbers. Casey, how would your life have changed if you'd have gone from being a plumber's assistant to writing $1.1 million in premium? Ashley's only been here with us for about 5 or 6 years, haven't you? Cook, how long have you been here? Y'all came at the same time. Maybe 7 years?
7.
7 years?
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Drastically different, I'll tell you that.
I see you, Pogue. Pogue's sneaking up on Lynn. Matt and Brad Smith had a good crew come in to visit us last week too. Real good crew coming in. 1.5 to 2.45. Good job, Lynn Watkins. Well done. Senior partner Eddie Pritchett for the week at $918,000. Marshall Whalen took it this week though, with $1 million as our lone managing partner. Edward Pritchett just shy of $4 million. Looks like Pritchett took it for the month to 3.9 to 3.8. Close race. Well done, Marshall Whalen and Edward Pritchett. Danny Young, Brian Delaney. Brian Delaney is on one of those honeymoons that like kings and queens take. He's going to be gone for like 2 months or something crazy. It's got royalty. I like it. Oh yeah, directs. Don't forget about directs. Kevin Purdy, $315,000 for the week. $1.2 million for the month. Sean Monteith in second place with $966,000. Good job, guys. And this is the one that keeps on pushing right here. Got to have a base shop. Easy Eddie, $62,000 for the month, a $283,000 base shop. So if you're wondering, if you're new, like how does that work? Think about this. What do you think Cook, what do you think Pritchett's average spread on his base shop is? Is it safe to say?
I'm going to say a whole lot.
I'm going to say probably 40. Casey,
What's a whole lot for a dollar there, Alex?
Yep. Edward Pritchett's spread. So take 40% of that number. And let's just say that he issues about 70% of that number. Now don't forget, this is the same guy that also got about $125,000 bonus last month. That doesn't count what we're talking about. All right, man. Round 3 finals. I think we're heading into the next round. Harrison Zipkin, Jennifer Giovanni, Scott Forehand with 27. It's good. You get to progress. Now it's start overtime. I think we're in the last 2 rounds. Rob Puckett up 84.81%. That's going to be hard to beat. That's gonna be hard to beat, Cook. 38% is pretty dang good, but that's
I'm
gonna
giving
be-
him a sandbagger award. What do you?
something happened.
I love the trash talk. That's good.
I like it. Man, we get to see some of these folks again coming back to Asheville. The F&G contest standings current as of 5:31. Number one producer was Darren Stubbs. Number one base shot was Tom Deutsch with 20,575. Well done. All right. Just taking some notes in my note-taking book here. A couple of announcements. Quility U Fast Track course now live. Head to the training section within HQ to single sign on to the new online university. Exciting times. For those headed to Destination 2021 in a couple of weeks, don't forget, Cook, we're going to be hosting our golf scramble, the 4th annual Symmetry Open, June 23rd. Head over to the new Destinations webpage for more information and to enter and help raise money for Make-A-Wish. Okay, we're going to be putting the teams together.
Raised a bunch of money last year, didn't we?
We did raise a bunch of money. Yep.
Well, last year too, but specifically the year before with this golf tourney. It was fun.
Yeah, year before, for sure. We got FE training again tomorrow, June 3rd at 11 o'clock. We also tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
On the FE training note, Brandon, I did make an announcement that I failed to make a few weeks back regarding our FE program and our FE lead specifically. You guys may have seen the announcement come out in our newsletter, but we have lowered the cost of the FE leads down from $30 to $24 at the starting contract level. Everything goes up from there, a buck per contract roughly, our contract level. But I failed to make that announcement. Did want to kind of let everyone understand that. That's the beauty of our lead department, and how kind of smart things have gotten with the data dives that we've been taking, Brandon, and really kind of drilling into understanding what is the return that we are looking for, not just as a company, more importantly, as an agent. What is a very healthy return for our lead program? We don't want to put leads into our system. We don't want to throw a bunch of vendor leads y'all's way, or leads that we generate y'all's way if the return's only going to be 2 times or 1 time. I don't want you spending $40 on a lead that makes you $80. We want a minimum of a 4 times return on your investment for leads. And that, again, that's kind of the minimum we're looking at. Our 5A leads right now are the best ROI we have in the company. Now, you have to put some time into it, obviously, make some more phone calls. But as far as financially speaking, it's the best ROI outside of our A leads. But we did make an adjustment on the FE leads to drive profitability for you guys in the field, specifically y'all, kind of targeting the FE program, which we're getting some traction on. So good stuff.
Yep. Well said. So anytime we say there's lead changes coming, it's not always a bad thing. So we've got the FE training. We got also an American Amicable training on Dignity Solutions Home Certainty Express term. We have a Friday Todd talk with Vice President of Sales, Mr. Spivey, and also the Advanced Market Solution, Mr. Mike Resma, tackling America's debt monster. It's a big one, and we got a lot of help that we can do. So let's go do it. Monday sales training, Justin Elliott, Winifred Brown, Harrison Zipkin. Leads are people too. I like that. I like that title. Should be a good one. And then, of course, Tuesday, June the 8th, Debt-Free LIVIN, hosted by Mr. Mike Resma himself. So tune in. Brian Williamson, I know there was some back and forth between you and I early this morning on Tool of the Week. Are you in fact doing the Tool of the Week?
I believe there should be a slide in there. Why don't you find out? There it is. How about that?
Ready.
Outstanding. You ready to rock it?
Yeah, man.
All right. So, So knowing how to develop leaders is important to you, right? To everyone on this call, whether you're new and you know it yet, or you've been around, it's actually the number one question that I continue to get is, how do I develop leaders more effectively? And I think it's a great question. In fact, it's the right question, and it's a good question that you should keep asking. But it is interesting, right? In a company that puts so much emphasis on leader development and personal development, that we'd still have a question of like, how do I more effectively develop leaders, right? The good news is I'm really thankful that you are asking that question, because it tells me that you're hungry for even more relevant tools and really even a more systematic approach toward how we help you develop leaders. And we're investing big time in that. You saw this week in the Quality U rollout and the upgrades there that we're only getting better at listening to you, at making data-based and intuitive decisions based on the data, at providing you what you need to win, right? So um, we want to make sure that everything that we are doing are tools that work given the uniqueness of our organization, that work in our model. And so we're listening to those things. And I'm going to continue to listen to, how do I develop leaders more effectively? I want that question to keep popping up. But I want to also add in a question for you today to think about. And that question is, instead of how do I develop leaders, I want you for the next month or so just to start asking, how can I have a leader development conversation, right? I want to bring it right down to Thursday morning or Wednesday afternoon for a lot of you. We all want people to grow, right? The good news is actually you can't make people grow. That's actually good news, because that's very freeing. Casey, I love what you were sharing on the builders call. Just, it was such a freeing vision of recruiting. And I have to believe a number of people felt a sense of liberation from that. Just like, gosh, that sounds so much easier than trying to sit down in a formal way and get a commitment, right? And in this, asking this question, like, how do I have a leader development conversation? You will be developing leaders when you have a leader development conversation. So you got to create that environment for people to grow. That's your part, right, as a leader. And so we need to start asking, how do we actually help people develop? And we need to ask, how do we know what to develop with people? So the tool that I want to share with you this week is a tool that you've probably not seen before. It's actually new. It's a tool that my good friend Mark Herringshaw really developed, and we've used this for a lot of years. When we think about, how do we even know what to talk about, right? That's a question that brings it really close to home. How can we diagnose what to talk about? Because I'm sure some of you listening right now can relate to picking up the phone. And if you're a leader, let's imagine that picking up the phone and an agent's talking to you, and instead of really leading that conversation and listening to what the challenge is and entering into that in a coach-like way and really diagnosing what's happening, it's just kind of like the Belmont Stakes. The horse has left the gate, and it's that horse is often going, and next thing you know, you're on the back end of a 20 or 30 minute conversation, and you leave the conversation and you thought, gosh, I'm not really sure that was valuable at all for that agent. And it certainly didn't seem like it was valuable for me. I just wasn't really sure how to even pinpoint something to work on. So with the agent performance diagnostic tool, this is a simple, memorable way that you can put into your mind that'll help you to understand what is the thing that you need to work on with an agent or with someone you're talking to, and how do you have that leadership development conversation. So there's 4 H's here, right? House, hands, head, and heart. And so you should be asking yourself questions. You can do this proactively. Like, you could literally sit down right now or after this call with your team and literally sit down and do an audit on your people, and start with house and say, okay, hey, do they really understand our business? And just reflect on that question for your agents. Do they understand how to actually, back to the recruiting thing. Do they have a vision? Maybe they're ready to start recruiting. A lot of the questions in the chat on the builders call were around the very basics and simple things of, what's this going to cost? How do I do it? And Brandon and Casey did a great job, and Chris, answering those. But maybe it's just they don't really understand it yet, and you've got to take some time to cast a vision for them, right? That's entering their world and identifying that, hey, we have a business understanding challenge, right? We need to help to that person to really get a better handle on how things work here, because usually how things work here are probably not how things work somewhere else. So think about that one. Is that an area that you haven't spent sufficient time on? Maybe it's a hands question. And the hands question is really about those skills, right? Have I spent enough time with them to help close their skill gaps? And you'll notice in these first two questions, these are really for the leader to ask about your involvement in the follower's life or in that agent's life, right? Have I done these things? Have I taken enough time to ensure that that agent understands the business and to make sure that I've told them based on observation what I see as their skill gaps. Now, if you're a good coach, you won't have to tell them. They'll be coming to you because you've given them a good assignment to execute on, and they'll come and say, hey, I don't know how to do this. But sometimes, and this will happen, especially early on, is that we're going to have an intentional conversation, an intentional leader development conversation around what that skill is that they need to develop that you're seeing in them. Okay, so those first two are really for you and your part as a leader. The other one are more really reflecting on their part specifically that they need to do, right? The first two, what you need to do and initiate with a leader as a leader. The second two are really going to be a conversation you might have, but it's really their part. The head part, are you observing that? Are they spending enough time developing? The good news about our culture is that you're going to get swept up if you're new. You're going to get swept up into a transformational journey. That's what happened with me, really, in many ways, why I think in part have aligned so deeply in this organization is because I love the value on personal development, on leader development, on continuous learning. But, sometimes, guys, I talked about this at national conference too. We just need to take a little bit more time to focus on one skill area, develop a new habit, develop a new thing. And we may just be hitting that same wall over and again. And we're trying to kind of break through it with a toothpick instead of a hammer, right? And so you got to go figure out how to use a hammer. So that's the third one. The last one is just heart. Is their behavior in line with the organization's values, right? Values are really important for us. When values are clear, decisions are easy. That values are protective, right? We want to make sure that we act like owners because we own it. We want to make sure that we are relentlessly pursuing development and how we could go through all the list and talk through all the values that we have on relationships, on integrity, and how we talk about those things. But again, those are things that at times as leaders, if we sit down and really look at values and agents, and sometimes we're going to have to be intentional about having conversations with them about that area. So just wanted to give you a simple way, because some of us struggle to pinpoint areas of development, right? And we're asking a big question: how do I develop leaders more effectively? I'm asking you to think this week, how do I have a leader development conversation? And that starts with, how do I pinpoint what it is that I might even need to talk about with that agent instead of abdicating, right? Sometimes we abdicate on the phone instead of liberate. And a way to liberate is to have a tool to be intentional that's going to help you pinpoint that need and add massive value. And so this week, take a look at the house, hands, head, heart. Take a picture of it if you've got it right now. If you don't have your phone with you, grab it and take that. And hopefully this helps you move the needle in understanding and having a leader development conversation.
Muted out there, Brenda.
My little unmute button wouldn't pop back up. I don't know what happened. Probably telling me to shut up and turn it over to Cook.
I like that tool of the week. Thank you, Bryan.
That was a great tool of the week. Well done. Mr. Cook.
We got a few announcements first, Brenda. You got is there any announcements on that PowerPoint? Or was that it?
I don't think so. I hit the announcements that I had.
Couple things. Next week, very big national call.
Yes.
Everyone in the company needs to be on it. Anyone, even on the outside of the company that you've been talking to, interviewing with, hiring, needs to be on this national call. So you guys make sure you're promoting it. We're going to do a little bit of State of the Union. As you guys know, we're kind of making some big moves behind the scenes. And so we want to give you guys a little bit of an update on what's happening in the market. We're going to have Bud Palmer on with us, our Chief Strategy Officer. We're going to be talking about some tech updates coming. We're going to be talking about some lead updates, what's going on with our lead program, some exciting stuff happening there. We're going to talk about some recruiting leads, some updates, and some rollouts we're going to hit on there. So just want to make sure everyone is on that call. And that's really,
we've been spending a lot of time, Casey, you and I, on making sure that Mark Palmer can bring down the CIM so that we can all understand it. And he's been working exceptionally well. So you shouldn't need your Palmer decoder rings, but
True.
that's why you have Casey and I here to
Right.
guide you through
There to
just in case.
we'll be there to translate if you need it.
He has come a long way. I could tell your influence in his life. It's been great.
We do really well at dumbing people down. I don't know if you guys know this about us, but that's one of our strong suits.
Necessity for us.
I will tell you this though, after you watch and listen to Mark next week, I will guarantee you it will be a highlight of your week. And from an excitement level, I don't know that you'll have anything that you'll ever leave a conference call more excited about, because we've seen this. We shared it with our corporate partners last week, who were really excited that they're going to be joining us on the call as well. So we'll be giving some of those QMS updates as well. There's just so many good things to kind of catch people up on and talk about. So Casey, you said it. Ryan Miller asked the perfect question on the last call, and we didn't get to address it, but it's perfect for this. It's like, the best recruiters, the best builders are the best traffic cops. Casey, you always say that. This is your opportunity to be a traffic cop. How many people can you get on to this call next week? And Cook, I would argue that every week, traffic copying everyone to the 1 o'clock call on Wednesday is probably the easiest, yet arguably the most important thing that as a builder that you can do. He also made the comment, and I agree with 100%, that, I think one of the things that builders do exceptionally well is they learn to promote really well, and they learn to promote the right things in the right way. One of those things always being national conferences, owners packs. What can I do to try to get the agents that are on my team acting more like owners, thinking more like owners? It's one of the core values, right? So how do I get to be more of that, right? Well, I think it starts with owning what you're doing well and owning what you're not doing well. How can you improve? And Bryan, you're great. Some of this was the stuff that you were just talking about, but if you have not been a great promoter for conference calls, then start this week, because it's going to be a really, really, really good one. And
it starts with you. It starts with the leader actually setting the example, leading from the front in the importance of conference calls. Sometimes you have someone kind of new leader jump into our culture, and they hear this thing about traffic cops, and they think, well, I don't need to be on the calls because I'm the leader. I'm just going to direct traffic that way. Your people can smell that a mile away. And so you got to promote the calls, but the people that promote them the best are just on them, and they know what's going on. And so it's easier for them to promote them. The other thing we do when it comes to kind of learning how to promote and direct traffic is just use the 3 T's. We talk, teach, testimonial. That's what Chris is getting ready to do in a second. There's no mystery behind it. It's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the people getting the results, and I'm going to let them talk about it, teach about it, give a testimonial about what it is that they're actually doing to drive the results. And it's probably going to be plugging in, working their butts off, listening, coaching, it's that kind of stuff. So, the bad news is there's good news, bad news. Bad news is there's no magic to it. The good news is there's no magic to it.
Right.
There's no trick. It's just the stuff that works. Doesn't really change much, but you've got to put new people onto. You've got to let them see it, because if you don't, they don't get it. And we all just kind of take it for granted because we're just used to it. We understand the success principles, but you've got to make sure that everyone on your team is kind of getting the same message.
Yep. You're exactly right. Well said. And Chris Cook, I promise you, is going to make it worth your while, no doubt. Cook, we go back to 2004, 5?
End of 2004, first of 2005, where I met you and Casey was at that meeting we had in Asheville. I think you two were the top sales guys for the week, and I drove over to see y'all get a year-end award or something like that.
I got you.
We're doing like 5. Man,
it seems like just
13 people in the room. I think it was our big conference.
Probably so. Hey, one thing, Casey, that we forgot to mention and we've gotten a lot of good comments on it. Casey and I, we splurged a little bit this week and made a big investment into our conference calls, and we want to show you what that investment is. Here's hang on, I gotta find my.
I'll show you mine just by turning it off.
Yeah, here's the before. Terrible. Gotta come back up.
Got some selfie
Here's
ring.
the after. Like an angel, baby. Like an angel. So Cook, you got a good look about you, man. You must have been on the selfie train along the selfie glow ring thing a long time ago.
No, I'm jealous now. I think you're big timing me. Y'all had to bring out this technology when I get on here. What's this about?
I know it, man.
Demo, man.
We're just always trying to let you know there's still room to grow.
Hey, being a good mentor.
That's right. Oh man, 2004, Chris Cook, you were driving a forklift at a loading dock.
That's right, baby.
And you were how much money were you making doing that?
Well, I like to refer to it as logistics coordinator. Remember, I love my title. Logistics coordinator. I'd coordinate the freight off that truck and coordinate it to the other truck with my forklift. So let's get it correct. That was my self-given title.
That's good.
Coordinator. And I was good at it, man. I don't know. They put me in charge of all the other forklift drivers. Gave me a 50-cent raise.
That is pretty good.
That is good, man.
Baby.
We always say that people come in without a lot of management skills, but that's clearly not true.
Case here.
I got it.
I was basically born thriving. You know what I mean?
You answered the same newspaper ad that Casey and I answered, or one that was very similar. Do you remember what that ad said?
Mortgage protection sales leads, 75K plus a year. And since I wasn't making 75, sounded like a raise to me.
That's
so
right.
I went and I interviewed with a 19-year-old at a hotel in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yep. And your takeaway from that interview was what?
These people got leads and they pay them like $500 every time that they say yes to you. Yeah. And they said there was unlimited on how many they could do it. And so I turned in my 2-week notice of a job that I had 6.5 years. And lo and behold, 17 years later, it's the only thing I've done since.
Were they, when you turned in your resignation, were they like, have you lost you're going to do what?
Oh, mom, my sister, everybody's like, what? You got a 401k? You're going to move up in the company. You're going to be head forklift driver. And you're going places, man. And yeah, everybody told me I was crazy. And I just said, well, I just didn't want this life anymore. And I just wanted to take a risk. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And then I saw you two guys and I was like, I like these two guys. Like, yep. You know, I saw you guys early January back in 2005 and I was like, oh, these are guys I can connect with. And, you know, got to know you guys and I was like, maybe cool people do insurance as well. You know what I mean? So,
turns out.
Yeah.
Turns out there's a few of us out there. I think they all are under this Symmetry Quality umbrella. Right. It's a good question, I think, to kick things off. You said you wanted to take a risk. You didn't want that life anymore. What life did you want?
You know, I just wanted choices. My father, he owned, you know, he set a really good example of me growing up. He owned his own car dealership, plus he owned his own rent-a-boat. You know, so I got to ride in a DeLorean that looked like Back to the Future, you know, when I was in 3rd grade. Oh, we had the identical to one in Back to the Future. Man, I'd get out of my car and the doors would come up. I'd do a circle around it just so all the 3rd grade girls would know which one I was going out of to go into the elementary school. You know what I mean? So, you know, houseboat, my dad set a lifestyle standard for us. And unfortunately, I lost my dad in a car accident when I was 10 years old. And, you know, I didn't have any of that. All that was taken away, what he had fought so hard for. And I just knew I didn't want that for my family and my life. If I was fortunate enough to have one, because I didn't have a wife or kids back then. I was just a goofball going out and doing whatever I was doing with life. I had a college degree and Lord knows I didn't know what I was going to do with it either. You know, I could park my forklift on it. It's about it. You know what I mean? It wasn't doing me much good. I promise you that. But I wanted freedom. I wanted choices. I knew I couldn't sit in a cubicle. And I knew I just, you know, you ever just just knew something was calling you to something higher. I just always felt those whispers, if that makes sense.
And you were brave enough to go do it. I mean, leaving a good paying job, best job that you'd ever had, leaving benefits, leaving security. And, I'll never forget, I remember you telling me one time, a lot of people really struggle when they look at leads. They see it as an investment, a dollar, right? An $8 5A lead, a $40 direct mail lead. I don't think you ever had that problem. You understand the value of insurance because of your background when you were 10 years old and how important insurance really was to people. And I remember you used to talk about that, that you knew there was a family on the other side of this piece of paper.
Yeah.
And the impact that you could make just by picking up the phone and calling when they asked you to call them. I would have to think for you, Cook, that when you found out that you could do this, that you never probably wanted to do anything else early on. There's the purpose piece of it. There's the freedom piece of it. There's the money, obviously, is fantastic. The freedom, the time, all of those things. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because of my past experience. It's like I just sort of felt like I was called to do this. Like this was sort of, where I was supposed to be in this industry, and just because of what we went through, you know what I mean? Particular is just, and it was, I never did see those people as leads. I just saw them as families needing help. And my job, because I didn't come from sales, I came from, the forklift background. My job wasn't to go sell them anything. My job was simply help them do what they said they were looking to do. And I took that as they're responding back on a form, and my job is to call them up and go do a good job for them. And so I knew some would tell me no, you know what I mean? And I knew some would tell me yes. And you and Casey always did a good job of teaching me the numbers that you guys saw. And I was like, well, if those be the numbers, I can do the numbers. And, led with my heart and was fortunate enough to help a lot of people. At 10 years, I spent out in the field just running appointments, grinding it out. So, yeah.
Chris, what's the hardest part of this business? What are, I know it's kind of not a question of like, what's the biggest thing that you've learned over the past 15 years, 17 years, however long it's been now. But if you could kind of whittle it down, like, what are some of those lessons that you've learned, and what is the hardest part? Because there's so many people listening in that look at your numbers, which, by the way, in March, Cook, your agency did $251,000 in premium. In May, you did $430,000 in premium. Val Zarn went from March 26,000 to May 70,000. Bryan Howell, $4,000 as a producer to $24,000 2 months later. DJ Robinson's just been with us since last September and is already knocking out $65,000 months. So I think it's somebody that obviously all four of you guys have a ton of credibility for everybody listening in that wants what you have. But what are the biggest challenges that they're going to have to overcome?
Well, I think there's always starts with the challenge of yourself, right? And I know for me, it was a challenge of myself, just how I thought about money, because I had my father till I was 10 years old, but there was a 22-year period because I was 32 when I found this business that I didn't have my father. So I had him, 2/3 of my life. I didn't have, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We've all, if you've been in this business, read that book by Robert Kiyosaki. And, I feel like I had a period of my life, I had my rich dad, and I had a period of my life where I had my poor influences. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And just overcoming the mindset of how I thought about money and really how things worked in business and life, and how to really think correctly about money. And money's not the root of all evil. Money is just money. And it's just whatever the person does with it is really determines if it's good or bad. Does that make sense? And so I think first you got to get your mind right. And I think just me overcoming me, plus me overcoming my victimhood mentality. I think a lot of us can fall into, maybe we've been with parents that have been divorced because my parents were divorced. Maybe some of you have lost a loved one or something, and that can be a great excuse. God knows I used it. But you know what? In the end, we've all been through junk. There's not a single person on here today that's not been through something that's hurtful, that's bad, that's not, where you would want it to be. But the key is, it's like, you got to take 100% responsibility for your life. And I remember reading the book years ago, Success Principles by Jack Canfield, and it really started to change my life, because I started, Brandon, really accepting all the results that I was getting, just me, like just accepting it. It wasn't the leads. It was, you know what I mean? It wasn't the program. And I really took ownership of my life. And it was very freeing. Like, that was one of the most freeing things, and that I think anybody can do, is just accept 100% where you are is where you are. You're the person that put you there. The great news is the hero that already exists, or the person that can get you out of where you're at, and it's you.
Yep.
You with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think realizing that, and I think, something else that I know in developing agencies and being with people is just that, man, people are going to disappoint you, right? You're going to be in business with people. And one of the hardest things in me, because I love people, man, I love people. And you're going to lose people that they can't overcome their own hurt. And what do hurt people do? They hurt people. And so, and they do it intentionally sometimes, right? And so it's hard in that dynamic, because you can't control that, right? You can't control what other people do. It just is what it is. But I just think, for me personally, that was one of the hardest things. I really hadn't a lot of people talk about quitting phases in the business. Man, I don't know about what y'all did in the past, but, I know he was a plumber's assistant, but it's just some of the stuff. But I was a roofer. I carried mud for a brick mason. I worked at a cross dock as a server at a restaurant, as a temp worker sweeping the floors. Like, this compared to anything else I did, pretty much Shangri-La over here. I don't know. Like it's like, man, you can make like $1,000 a day if you're just willing to pick up a phone and make a call. Like, it's not, like, it's perspective, right? And I'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's just keeping proper perspective sometimes of what you do and where you are.
Last question, my favorite question. I try to ask as much as I can. How is your life different now than it was 17 years ago? And Cook, I know that you could honestly say that your life is probably equally as different from where it was in 2010 or 11, right? But how's your life different now? What are the things that you feel and your family feels are the biggest differences?
Well, and I don't get cheesy with this, and it's hard not to even get emotional, but it's just like, so here's my morning today, right? Got this wonderful call. I got these awesome people going to be on the call here with me today. But my morning consisted of my wife getting my 8-year-old up and ready, and he's going to cowboy camp today. This dude loves horses. Cowboy camp. Noah's going to cowboy camp today. And if you follow us on Facebook, you probably have seen pictures of him in his little cowboy hat. He's going to ride horses today. He's doing mucking the stalls and all that. And this man loves it. And it's a pretty penny to send your kid to that. And me, in any environment, any other job, me and my wife would have never been able to support that. And my other part of the morning was which flight I was going to take to Spokane, Washington, June 29th. And then my biggest question I had to ask my 11-year-old son, because I always loved taking a travel trip with just me and him, or me and Noah, because I want to be intentional around the relationships that I have with my son. And hey, son, do you want to go there? And then where are we going to go cool that's in Spokane? Do you want to go with me? And he's like, heck yeah, Dad, I already told you last night I want to go. And, but we didn't have to go look at the price and was concerned about it. Is that what we wanted to do? Could we be intentional around the relationships? Because, one thing I learned with losing my father is, like, time's the most precious commodity we all have. And it's like, I want to be that father that has that opportunity to spend time with his son. And just, I don't know when the good Lord's going to take me. And he may take me tomorrow. He may take me 40 years from now. But I want to be intentional with the time of the people that I love. And that gives me the opportunity, and Symmetry's afforded that opportunity for us. And it's been beautiful.
Man, perfect answer. Thank you, buddy. We love you. You know it. We go way back further than just about anybody around here. And we've talked enough junk about college football for the next 40 years for sure. But excited for everybody out here to be able to listen to you, hear a little bit more from you, but also the crew that you've got on, man. Cook, we appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Can't wait to see you guys in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Right around the corner.
We're going to mute
Fired
out.
up. Fired up. Well, thank you guys. And my name is Chris Cook, Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm direct Symmetry Financial Group. So appreciate everybody giving us a little time here today. And just want to, start it off for just how honored we are as a team to be asked to be on this call today and just share with you guys just some of the things that we've seen to help keys for us growing here at Symmetry and how we're choosing to win because, winning is a choice. And how that, hopefully some of it adds a little value to what you guys are looking for today. And just the special opportunity that Symmetry has been to me, my wife, Lauren, my two sons, Reese and Noah. Been here 7 years. And like I said, it's been special. Thank you, Brandon, Casey, and Bryan for the opportunity that is Symmetry because it is truly the most phenomenal thing that I've ever seen. Also, real quick, thank you, because those numbers aren't possible because I went out and that you guys heard right off, because those numbers aren't possible because I'm some great being or whatever like that. We got agency owners on our team, and I'm not going to go through names because then I'll get in trouble if I leave any names off. But thank you to our team that's going out there, and I know you guys are leading by example. I appreciate all you agency owners so much. Thank you for all the base shop because I know you guys are killing it and leading by example. So I want to just take time. You guys are amazing. And I'm honored to be in business with each and every one of you each and every day from the bottom of my heart. So I want to do that. So got that out of the way. And guys, I got to choose from a group of awesome people. And we've got on our call today a guy. Now check this out. So we got a guy on our call today that since January 1 of this year, he's averaged over 50,000 a month. And he's doing it all on 50-cent leads. I know some of you just probably fell over in your chair and probably thought he had some massive GMR or something like that. Nope, I said that correct. He's averaging over 50,000 a month on 50-cent leads. So, DJ, you out there, buddy?
Yep, right here.
And there you are, good looking. I like it, buddy.
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing awesome, buddy. Let's just, so tell us who you are, where you from, DJ, and then I'm going to ask you just a couple quick questions, let you roll with it, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody on the call. Thank you, Brandon, Casey, for allowing myself to be a part of this company and this business. Thank you, Chris, for bringing me into this business, and I really mean it. From the bottom of my heart. I really enjoyed your words, that were inspiring a couple minutes ago, and they were true and they were sincere. And I have to tell you, this is a wonderful business. This is a wonderful place to be, surrounded by and work with wonderful people every single day. And I really enjoy what I do. I'm living, here in Southern California, Los Angeles County, Manhattan Beach, California. Been with Symmetry since September of 2020. So hasn't even been a year yet. Feels like it's been a couple of years, but it really has just been a short while. And so I'm just happy and blessed to be here. I really enjoy what I do, waking up every day and working with guys like you. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you, buddy. And just so everybody get this straight. So this is my man, DJ Robinson. So DJ, are we telling them the truth? Are you averaging over 50,000 a month this year from January through May on 50-cent leads? Tell us a little bit about how that's working out for you.
Absolutely. Well, this business truly is, it is what you want to make of it. And for me, when I got in this business, I told myself, I set some reasons, and a lot of you may know me. I don't truly set goals. I set reasons that I do things. It gives me something to focus on, something to work towards. And when I got in this business, I said to myself, you can go out there and do whatever you want. There's nothing that's going to hold you back. There truly isn't. And what you mentioned about mindset, one of the biggest prohibitors to us all tends to be our own selves. And for me, I got into this business. I said, look, if you put the work in and you put the time in, there is no reason, absolutely no reason, you shouldn't see dramatic results. And so, I decided right off the bat, I was going to just work. And I'll tell everybody right here, right now, I really work my butt off. There really is no secret sauce. I mean, I start my day at 5:30 a.m. I'm on the West Coast. I start dialing. It's 8:30 on the East Coast. And I dial all day long till about 5 o'clock Pacific time. I take about a 30 to 40 minute break for lunch. I do a morning jog for about 45 minutes with my wife. But other than that, I work. And I just sit my butt in my chair and work and dial and call people and focus on how I can help families, how I can help individuals. I mean, I'm just going to be straight. I'll leave it all on the phone. I like sports, football, basketball. Some people, in sports can understand that when you're playing, you tell yourself, you tell your team, leave it all on the field. Leave it all on the court. Don't have any regrets. Every day that I get up and go to work, I leave it all on the phone. By the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I truly am. But I know one thing. I know that I haven't shorted myself. I know that I haven't undersold who I could be, what I could do, and who I can help. And so that mentality is really what drives me. I work for one of the most ruthless bosses that's out there. It's not Chris. It's myself. I am a ruthless boss. I hold myself accountable. And, it sounds like maybe it's kind of easy, but it can be quite difficult sometimes, I think, to get sidetracked. So, I guess to start with, it really takes a lot of work and a lot of focus and commitment. But I will tell you, it is well worth it. Absolutely worth it.
I'm gonna mute myself real quick, and before I leave you, I just so everybody out there has context around this, what you're doing, DJ, because I know each week you love sending your activity report, you and your team, and you're doing a great job with that. It's like, man, what a lot of people don't realize is when you say massive action, when you say you work, like $800, $900, $1,000, $1,100 a week. And I would dare say in that time frame, you're probably averaging somewhere in the neighborhood of $900 to $1,100 a week. Would that be correct?
Correct. Yes, that is correct. 100%.
Yeah. So, oftentimes, and this is just a lesson for everybody, you're brand new, you can outwork your, I've got one of the things that I have written here on my desk is like outwork your problems. The great part about this industry, it lets us outwork our problems if we're willing to, right? But some people will get in this business and they'll start out and they'll say, whew, I made $300 this week. And I was like, okay. And then they're like, well, it just hadn't happened yet. And it's like, how's DJ Robinson doing it? How's he writing 20,000 this week or 15,000 last week? How's he got 35,000 for the month in 2 weeks? And I was like, do you really want to know? And they're like, yeah, give it to me. You just bring it. Tell me what DJ, give me the secret that DJ knows that I don't know. Well, where you do $300 a week and you run 6 appointments a week, he does 1,000 and runs 15 to 20. You know what I mean? And it's just like, they don't want the answer. And sometimes the truth hurts, right? Right? You know what I mean? But DJ, just any last closing comments on that, that you want to give to that right there, buddy?
Absolutely. I mean, it comes down to, you got to be focused. And I'll share a couple of thoughts that I have that I've written down and I post up around my, my workspace, on my computer, on my wall. I'll just share these with everyone because it really does help me get through the day and go out and reach my goals. Number one, if you want to be a different person, do something different. Truly, if you want to be a different person, if you want to really produce, do something different. If you don't do 1,000 calls a week, 1,200 calls a week, do 1,000, do 1,200 calls a week. You know, in this business, I also truly believe you are what you do, not what you think. You truly are what you do. If you want to be producing big numbers, get on the phone, make the calls, you know, go out and put the time and the work in. I always tell myself, because we get into the habit of dialing, chase the no's and you will fall into the yeses. Chase the no's and you will fall into the yeses. So don't pick up the phone only trying to find a yes, only trying to find someone to write an application. Pick up the phone, chasing the no, chasing the no. The yeses will come. The apps will happen. The APB will be there. One other thing I'd like to share with somebody. Somebody is always watching you. And you know who that person is? It's yourself. You see and you watch and you observe everything that you do. You know, we may be in an office by ourselves with the door closed. We may be, you know, in wherever, our workstation or den. And we may be sitting there, you know, kind of not really on the phone too much or, you know, taking a little break here and there. But you're watching yourself. And do you want to be doing the things that would make the person watching you happy, impressed? Or the person watching you say, man, you're not doing anything. You know, you're always watching yourself. Doesn't matter if nobody else is around. So act like it. And then the last little thing I'll leave with you, you can learn a lot from a robot. That sounds kind of corny, but hey, robots just do what they got to do what they're programmed to do. Doesn't matter if somebody yells at them, you know, screams at them, hangs the phone. You can learn a lot from a robot. Just keep at it. And so those are some of the parting little thoughts I'll share that they keep me focused through the course of the day and the week. So I just wanted to share that with you, Chris. But I do enjoy really, truly being part of your team, part of your organization. It means so much to myself, my family. I really love and appreciate everybody that's here. And I wouldn't trade this for anything else. And I truly mean it.
Hey, man, I'm getting text already. They're loving them some DJ Robinson out there, man. Can't wait. Here's the crazy part about this, folks. So me and DJ's never even got to meet each other in person. We've seen each other on Zoom. We've talked a ton on the phone. Never got to meet each other in person because of COVID. But guess what? Here in a couple of weeks, baby, Costa Rica, me, you, Lauren, and Nicole, buddy, get to meet each other. So I'm fired up, man. I appreciate you so much for the standard and the leadership you've shown, buddy. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait to share you with a lot of people, buddy. All right. Let's see if I got my other compadre out there. Mr. Val Zarn, buddy. Back to back. Do you give your acceptance speech for name of the year now, or what do you think? What should we
we'll hold up to a conference for that one.
Okay, we'll just do a whole nother call around that one. But buddy,
Sure.
Brand new agency owner, 34,000 this week, your all-time record week as an organization. You personally produced 18,000 this week. Your team's growing like crazy. Just give us some keys to growth for you and your team and just what you want to share with us today, Val, and I'll clear it for you, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. So thankful to be here. So thankful for Brian and Casey put the system together, and for Chris thinking enough of me to give me a call that day when he did. My name is Val Zarn, agency owner, director Chris and Lauren Cook from Southern California. Been here for about 3.5 years. And I have a question for you. Who do you know that looks good, smells good, and is living a life of quiet desperation? When Chris doesn't know this, but when he reached out to me, I had put my dreams and my aspirations on hold. I had taken a job, pretty much the only real job, Chris, that I've ever had in my life. I'm what you might call a serial entrepreneur. And I told myself, you know, I'm going to do this for no more than 5 years. Can you believe I was willing to put my life on hold for 5 years? I came from this industry with another company that didn't have the culture, didn't have the ethics, nowhere near what's available here. I was once asked by that CEO, what are you willing to do? And I said, as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical, I'm in. And I'm not kidding you. His exact response was, your standards are too high. Some of you know who that was, and I'm not going to say the name. But here's something to think about. Change starts with you, but it doesn't start until you do. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. In the immortal words of Morpheus from the Matrix is, what happened happened and couldn't have happened to any other way. So where you're at today is a culmination of every decision you've made, every person you've chose to associate with, every book you've read, movie you've watched, and conference call you've been on. You're right exactly where you're supposed to be. For something to change, you have to change. Now, it does take 100% commitment. And Chris, I promise you, I was close up until recent. I was close up until recent. And if you don't think it takes 100% commitment, I have this challenge for you. Look to your significant other later today and go, you know what? You know, honey, I haven't told you today I love you. I love you. All right. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, want you to know that I am 95% committed to you, and see what happens. All right. It's not going to be pretty. I promise you that. So it's kind of like, Chris, it's kind of like having one foot on the dock and one foot on the boat. All right. You're in that situation, you're really limited as far as how far you can go. Can you picture that? And I have really significant news for you. The ship's not coming in. All right. Just face it, the ship's not coming in. The good news is it's already here. It's never been better than it is today. If you're just starting out, your opportunity is far greater than mine when I started 3.5 years ago, far greater than when Chris started 7 years ago. With all these new initiatives and ways that they're investing in us, the amount of money they're putting into marketing and infrastructure that's not coming out of our pockets, it's mind-blowing when you understand really what's going on. And I have a tiny little sneak peek, a little bit behind the scenes, but there's so much more that I don't even know. And back when I was thinking about like my commitment level, Chris had said over and over again, you know, he had encouraged me to step up in recruiting. And I go, yeah. You know, I was getting results, some results. I was at Key Leader for quite some time. And here's the crazy thing is that the same month that I increased my recruiting, I went 2.5 times as far as the number of ads. I doubled my investment, increased the number of hours for my recruiter. It was that same month, Chris, that we qualified the first month in AO. And here's what I know. You can't outgive the universe. You cannot outgive the universe. And even though you're making deposits in Bank A, they're not necessarily going to come from there. They're going to come from areas that you never thought possible. We have a one-on-one quick call with Chris each week. I have a one-on-one quick call with Chris, and I had a quote unquote rough week. And I said, hey, Chris, the good news is the numbers owe me. Right? Remember that? I said, we had this call. That was 2 weeks ago. And then talk about Bank A and Bank B. My phone rings from a client that I wrote more than a year ago. Actually, I didn't write them. I wrote their grandkids because they weren't in the market at the time. And I said, who else do you have in the household that I might be able to help? And I wrote 3 IULs on their grandkids, about $111 a piece. It's really, really nice. And then my phone rings that day, last Wednesday, and calls me up and says, hey, we're back in the market. And I set an appointment, ran out and wrote 4 policies for like $14,000 or something crazy like that. And I literally said the week before, Chris, the numbers owe me, right? You cannot outgive the universe. So Brandon Casey talked about on the builder's call, it takes a long-term mindset. So the best time to plant a tree, you want to know when the best time to plant a tree is, some of you heard this, is 20 years ago or today. All right. And Chris, I'll close with this from Brian Tracy's book, Eat That Frog. This is how Brian Tracy puts it, one of my favorite authors of all times. He says, the clearer you are about your future intentions, the greater influence that clarity will have on what you do today. Chris, back to you.
Love it, buddy. Love it. Great stuff, man. Appreciate you so much, buddy.
You too.
All right. Let's see. Brian Howell. You out there, buddy?
I am.
Hey, what's up, man? So you're the reason me and my 11-year-old are coming to Spokane, Washington.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can show you guys the sites. There's not many of them, but we can get to them.
That's all right, man. I'm fired up. Me and Reese are fired up, buddy. Man,
Good.
Bryan, you started with us back in early January, and already, man, it's just, for you new people out there, you wonder if it's possible. I know you've been a part of the insurance industry already,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
already written over 100,000 year to date. And what's the top opportunity? What'd you see here? Obviously, you've been a part of the insurance thing. I'm going to just let you talk and move with it, man.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you, Chris, man, for allowing me to be on the call. And man, I'm just super humble and grateful to be here. And I'm directed Jeffrey Miller, long time friend. We've been in and out of business together, mortgage companies, insurance, everything for about 20 years. Our kids grew up together. Pretty cool. Thank you, Mark Newbauer, Joe Martinez. Man, and then you, Chris, again, just for your guys' leadership. It's honestly the last few months just kind of changed my life. So, but yeah, I mean, honestly, my journey here has been really about a 5-year journey. I was pastoring a church, and it kind of ended really bad, kind of burnout, and so I went back into the insurance industry and built through a captive agency and built a pretty successful insurance agency. I won't name the name, obviously, that's just poor taste, but did that for like the last 3 years, kind of running, trying to be successful again. And I was really successful, but I was pretty empty. And so I got bored with that and got pretty itchy. And my friend, Jeffrey Miller, who's been very successful in this business as well, pointed this out last July. And so I got signed up, didn't do anything. I was still a captive agent, so I couldn't conflict of interest. But sold my agency, and in January, I decided I was going to really start going after this thing. And probably about, I don't know, I probably still wasted about 6 to 8 weeks until I really started going and getting it done. And so, yeah, man, I'll tell you, I'm super fired up about Symmetry and what it's really done for me internally, and the people that I've been able to be a part of, the last few months. And so, the conference that we did, the virtual conference, we got together for the virtual conference, was incredible. But I came from a captive agency, very, very successful. So I didn't have to leave. I chose to leave because of a few things, and I'll give those things to you. The reason why I'm here in a captive agency, man, it's about money and numbers. I mean, they're just driving you money, numbers, money every single month, right? What are your money? Every year you're chasing money and numbers, and they take things away from you that you earned and they give it to other people. And it's just a frustrating here, man. It's about people and relationships. It's about the people that you're reaching out to help, and it's about the relationships that you're building. Every morning on our huddle call, man, I feel like at 7:30 in the morning, man, I'm hanging out with like 30 of my best friends, and half of us have never even seen each other face to face, right? But they're my best friends. Like, we're just getting together. And so number one is culture, man. The culture's incredible here at Symmetry. I wanted more time. I work from home. I had the honor and privilege to spend the last, and I'll try not to get emotional, the last 9 months with my granddaughter here every single day. And then lots of freedom, family. And then the big thing, man, is getting to that agency owner place where I can begin to honestly leave a legacy for my kids. Just as you said, like you started with the emotional thing earlier, man. You did. I teared up and I was just like, oh my gosh, man, it's already started. But dude, leaving a legacy. My only regret to this business is that I didn't find it in 2009, right when they started, so that I could be that far along, So I'll tell you about this business. You don't grab a hold of this business. You don't grab a hold of it. Symmetry grabs a hold of you, right? And it begins to change you. And so, man, I'll be honest, the last 6 to 8 weeks, it has impacted me in ways that I can't even explain. And so if you're out there looking for something different, you're burnt out, you're tired, you're empty, you want some friendships, some relationships, you want God to do something in your life, man, this is it. It will bless you financially, and you'll be able to leave a legacy monetarily. But the things that it does internally that you get to hand off to other people, there's nothing like it. It's changed my life. And man, I'm super thankful for the culture at Symmetry and the opportunities that it's afforded me. So I'll give it back to you.
Buddy, that's awesome. And you're like me, man. It's like, get the emotional train. You talk about my kids and leaving a legacy. Whoo, that touches my heart, man. Hey, that's what it's about for me. That's our why, right? That's our burning desire. And that's what gets us up in the morning. So thank you, Bryan Howell, for the human being you are, buddy. And I can't wait to share you with Symmetry Financial. Like, you're going to touch so many people's lives. It's going to be phenomenal, man. So
let's go. Let's do it. Thank you.
Let's
Thank you, Chris.
Man. So I want to start this next part off is just, I think Symmetry Financial as a whole, I just want to share this real quick. Just a special gratitude to one of the guys. And it's going to be hard for me to get through this part, but I'll get through it quick because I got to, because if I don't, I'll get a little teary-eyed on it too much. But thank you to Grant Reynolds, a pioneer in our industry. In so many ways. We tragically lost him end of last September. He was an agency owner in our group, and we tragically lost him. And so anyway, he was so giddy when Symmetry Financial went to Zoom appointments. Like, I just want you to know, he was my little millennial rock star. He's 24 years old, going on 25, and he was driving 4 hours one way up to Delaware to run appointments and 4 hours back. He made it happen, became an agency owner in his first 10 months. Thank you, Grant Reynolds, for paving the way for so many of us to go on that path, because he was one of the pioneers of, he's like, you mean I don't have to go run appointments in person anymore? He's like, hallelujah. And so he took a lot of ownership, even in our group. I know a lot of our leaders took his leadership back then, where he went out and started running appointments via Zoom session and proved it was possible. So thank you, Grant. Appreciate you, buddy. Always will, my man. So, all right. So I'm going to share a couple of tidbits with you guys. I'm going to go real quick because I'm not going to make this call go long. Principles of success. A lot of people accuse me. They say, well, Chris, you just keep saying the same things over and over. And I'll tend to agree with those people that say that, because the principles of success just haven't changed. If they had changed, I would have said something different. But since they didn't change, that's the reason I keep saying the same thing. Know that. You can't negotiate with success. Choose your hard. I want to share this with you real quick, and I pray this makes an impact on you, because I want you to really think about what I'm getting ready to share. Marriage is hard. Divorce is hard. Choose your hard. Obesity is hard. Being fit is hard. Choose your hard. Being in debt is hard. Being financially disciplined is hard. Choose your hard. Communication is hard. Not communicating is hard. Choose your hard. Life will never be easy. It will always be hard, but we can choose our hard. Pick wisely. That's an encouragement right there. Pray you choose your hard correctly. Here's something else that I'll share with you guys real quick. Your mind must arrive. Your mind must arrive at your destination before your life does. I'm going to repeat that again so you can take notes. Your mind must arrive at your destination before your life does. For me, my mind arose at this destination long before the results ever got here. First, you got to get your mind right. A catalyst for me and growth in that was books. All the books that I've read, I've probably read a book a month ever since I've been with Symmetry Financial, and it's helped change me. It's influenced me as a father, a husband, as a mentor, and I pray that does some help with you guys. But your mind must arrive at your destination before your life does. In books, that was huge. So challenge yourself on that. Leave something else with you. Successful versus unsuccessful, like how successful people think. And this is another quick thing that I think is very poignant. If I can find it right here. Unsuccessful people make decisions based on their current situation. See if this describes this to you. Unsuccessful people make decisions based on their current situation. Successful people make decisions based on where they want to be. How are you making your decisions? Based on your current situation or where you want to be? Think. think very carefully about what we just said. Keep perspective. Some jobs that I had before, I was a roofer, $7 an hour. I carried mud for a brick mason. I worked at a cross dock. I was maxing out at 14 an hour there. Woo! So if I worked 10 hours in a day, I was making $140. Big whoop. Server at a restaurant, I was making $3 an hour plus tips. As a temp worker, sweeping the floor, making $7 an hour. My point being, some of us all can fool ourselves in this business. We like call your upline, you're like, whew, it's been a rough day. I got no-showed 3 times today. Got told no 3 times today. Just been one of those bad days. And it's like, so wait, so you got no-showed in a virtual appointment thing. So what'd you do? Go to the fridge and get a ham sandwich? So keep perspective. What did you do before? So in my best days at the cross dock, me being a wonderful sweeper or whatever, or driving the forklift better than anybody in the world could drive a forklift, I'd make $140. Keep perspective. And that was in 10 hours. So if you actually equated this to time you put into this, my challenge is, are you willing to give this the same respect and honor that you gave your previous boss? Because if you will, from an income producing standpoint, you won't even come close to what you were doing before. I promise you. Get rid of weak language. This is a challenge I'm going to throw out to you. Weak language. If you want to know you're speaking in terms of weak language, you're going to say words like, I'm going to try today. I'm going to wish, hope, I'll get my feet wet. Here's my question. When your mama or daddy took you to go out and learn how to swim, what good would you getting your feet wet have done you if you were trying to learn how to swim? None. Quit getting your feet wet. Jump in. Need to. That's another weak language. Get rid of that stuff. Replace it with I am. I am doing this today. I'm getting this done today. My challenge to you there. Just one other thing that I'm going to do, and we're going to get off here because it's 2:30. I love respecting everybody's time. Another key to growth, guys, this business just changed my life. It's changed my son's life. It's probably changed my grandkids' lives and maybe their life after that. I won't be here to see it, but I'm so thankful for the opportunity to make it help be possible. And I'll tell you, it's this. Each leader out there, they probably already got with you and they told you they've got an altitude conference coming up either in August or September. My challenge to you today is get with them, get registered, and go out and develop relationships. Because if you've heard of one of our core values here, it's relationships matter, people come first. Where our business changed is we hosted an in-person conference around the virtual one a couple of months ago, and that's how we went from 250 to 429. I'm telling you, it changed because we got to see people in person again. My challenge to you is get back out there, get signed up for those altitude conferences, and because relationships matter, people come first. Everybody have a great week. Thank you, everybody, and let's have a good one. Appreciate everybody.
Outstanding.